and welcome back. And happy Father's Day to all you dads and fathers and people who have made a difference in someone's life. They're starting this service today with a great song that was written in 1923, Great is Thy Faithfulness. And we're going to be hearing it from our brothers and sisters in the UK in a gorgeous, gorgeous cathedral. The words are there so we can all sing. So let's get started with worship. Today's reading is from Matthew 18, 1 through 6. Listen for the word. At that time, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Who then is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven?" He called a little child to him and placed the child among them. And he, Jesus, said, "Truly I tell you, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever takes the lowly position of this child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." This is the word of the Lord for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Matthew 18. Matthew 18 is considered an important chapter in the Christian faith. It gives us a real sense of Christian ethics, Christian integrity, because it deals with those qualities which should characterize the personal relationships of the Christian. We learn in today's verse, Jesus encourages us to seek to have the qualities of a child to walk on this earth. And it was in response to his followers' question. The question was, who will be the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? The very fact that they asked that question showed that they had no idea at all what the kingdom of heaven was. Jesus said to them, unless you change, unless you turn. He was warning them that they were going in the completely wrong direction if they were looking for the kingdom of heaven. They were not heading towards it with that attitude of who is the greatest. You know, a person's life is defined by what they are, what they look for, what they focus on, and what they desire. If they are targeting at the fulfillment of personal ambition, the acquisition of personal power, the recognition of fame and personal status, or even being adored by their art, their sports achievements, or just being someone with a large Facebook following, then their focus is in the opposite direction of the kingdom of heaven. So the answer to the question then and now is, as long as a person considers themselves as the most important thing, then they consider that they have turned their back on God. Now Jesus understood humanity. His teachings reflect that. And his teachings are relevant today as they were then. He understood it was a natural desire for his disciples to want to know who was the favorite, who would have the honor of sitting next to Jesus at dinner, or who would be next to him in heaven. It's a natural desire in a human being to strive to be their best, to have a better life. In some of us, we feel a drive to reach goals, to climb mountaintops in our work, community, our personal achievements. We seek to provide better for our families, to give them the best we can afford, to give them and the next generation better opportunities. So just what is Jesus talking about here? Is he saying that all that we strive for and hope for is offensive to God, and then it is not worthy of the kingdom of heaven? No. Jesus said that in a child we see the characteristics which should mark a person for the kingdom. Let's consider the characteristics in a child. First, they have the power to wonder. They have the power to forgive and to forget, even when adults and parents treat them unjustly and unkindly. They have their innocence. They believe what they're told. They trust. Commentators that have studied this passage point out that three great qualities that a child has that apply to this biblical text. First, they have humility. You know, children are not born with a desire for personal wealth or prestige or power. For it's only as they grow up and are initiated into a competitive world, scrambling for prizes and for first places, that their instinctive humility is left behind. They are dependent. To the child, a state of dependence is perfectly natural. They are perfectly content to be dependent on those who love and care for them. And in that same vein, a child trusts. The child is instinctively dependent, and just as instinctively they trust their parents to meet their needs. When we are children, we cannot buy our own food or our own clothes or maintain our own home. Yet we should never doubt that we are going to be clothed and fed by our trusting and loving parents, and that there will be a shelter and a warm, comfortable home waiting for us. All children should have that. When a child comes into this world, they are set out on a journey with no means of paying their way for anything, and with no idea how to get to their journey's end. Yet it never enters their heads to doubt that their parents will bring them safely there. The child's humility is the pattern of the Christian's behavior to each other, and the child's dependence and trust is the pattern for our attitude towards God. Now, in these past few weeks, we've seen many children on the streets all over the world. They're holding signs and walking with their families. Children of today are engaged, and they're aware of their world, and they have some sense of what's going on and how it's affecting them or their future or those around them that they love, like their families, their brothers, their uncles. They are not afraid. They are not afraid to stand up to the powerful and speak their concerns. Now, would children of today still be an example for Jesus to use as someone who is seeking the kingdom of heaven? I believe so. I believe so. I believe that Jesus wept that the children of Parkland had to take their fears and message to the streets and to the powerful. That children organize marches themselves because they're afraid of their lives because of their skin color. Or children that stood and stand today in solidarity to call out the adults to change the environment, to be responsible for the world that they're going to inherit. Jesus, he would be proud of these kids. And Jesus does not ask us to be children, but to have the hearts of children, the passion and energy of children who want nothing more at this time in their lives than to humbly live in safety, to protect the creatures of the earth that they love, to respect those that they depend on, those that have the economic and policy makers of this world, the leaders of their school systems, and the ones who make the decisions that give them and protect their future. As children of God, we all want those things. And as children of God, we must remember that to seek the kingdom, we need to soften our hearts to be like that of children. With softer hearts, with forgiving hearts, we can turn towards God with humility. We can innocently hope for God's will to be done. We can begin trusting in God. And like a child depends on their guardians during storms and scary times, we can depend on God to give us a way through these very unordinary times. Amen. Join me in a closing prayer for today. Merciful God, we come to you. You are a God of majesty and might, and you have blessed us with revelations of your glory. Give us the gift of faith that we may hear your voice for ourselves and see Jesus Christ revealed to us, that we may stand on our own without fear. In your Son's name, amen. People, God has been revealed to us that we might follow the teachings of Jesus and transform this world. Go in love and work in peace. Amen.